So in the middle of Sif Beis, that's what we're holding here. ובשביל מכונה התוידה בשם הלוכה. So the Rebbe starts, ובשביל זה מכונה התוידה בשם הלוכה. So it's interesting that the Rebbe says, ובשביל זה מכונה התוידה בשם הלוכה. What does it mean, בשביל זה מכונה? Who was מכנה the תוידה בשם הלוכה? The Rebbe himself just told us something that nobody ever heard about, that toida is halacha. So now, after you finish saying that, now you're telling me, who was mechana? The Rebbe was mechana. So I don't know the answer for that yet. But what's more interesting also is that by the end of this seif right now, what he's going to explain right now is taka a certain shaykhis between toida and halacha. Because the way the Rebbe is explaining it is that toida mevim kshiyoytzi me'atzora, and that's when the domim hoichin keseder. And the Rebbe says, al shem zeh, the halacha is like halichas hadomim kesidron. So it's more than just mechuna. It shows like a connection. It's the same move that's happening. It's the same tnuah. So why is this, even let's say it was mechuna, why is this the reason that you're bringing here to explain why it's mechuna? You could maybe say that biyachas to the reason that he explained in Sif Aleph, in the beginning of Sif Beis, which he explained that the kesha primi is between toida and halacha, because k'shenischadish halacha nischadish seichel v'yediyah, and toida is the p'china from shashuil mabo, which that's actually l'daso yisayis. You're getting closer, you're knowing more from the Eibishter. Yoidinu yisu, makirin yisayis. So that sounds like more of a stronger connection between toida and halacha. That idea that halacha is nischadish seichel v'yediyah, and also toida is in from seichel v'yediyah. And the other explanation that he's going to give right now is more an explanation that sounds like the tnuah is sadoim. It's not. Both of them have the same tnuah, but it's not actually the same thing. So maybe that's why this is mechuna and this is the shaykhis hapnimi yoisa. But again, we have to understand what does it mean b'shvizeh mechuna toida b'shem halacha when we don't know from any other place that it's mechuna. So the Rebbe goes b'shvizeh mechuna toida b'shem halacha. כי תוידו מביאים כשיוצאים מצורא. כי כשנויפלים לאיזה צורא חס ושלום, אז עיקר הצורא בלב. Why? כי הלב יודע ומרגיש הצורא ביוסר. כמו שכוסוב לב יודע מאוס נפשוי. כי הלב מבין ועל כן הוא מרגיש הצורא ביוסר. ואזי בשעס הצורא. So till now the Rebbe is explaining that when a person falls into a tzara, the first thing you should know that the ikar tzara is believe. Why is the ikar tzara believe? Kalev meivinu margish biyoyis tzara, and the Rebbe brings a riot it that the leiv knows the tzara from the lashon leiv yudeya moras nafshoy. We could stop over here already and say that since the Rebbe expresses what the heart feels in a way of Yodeya, and the Rebbe brings the posik of Leiv Yodeya, so maybe this Yodeya has a shaykhis with the whole idea of Yodeya, which the Rebbe spoke before, that is an Indian from Nischadish Seichel V'Yediyah, and that the Indian from Shashoy Lamabo is also Indian from Yodeya. There has to be a shaykhis more than that, just it's in the same Torah. Has to be that something about Yediyas HaLeiv has to do with this whole thing of Yediyah and Ischadish Seichel V'Yediyah. How pinked, I don't know yet. But to recognize, Alev Yediyah U'Margish Atzor B'Yoseh, Kumo Shekosov Leiv Yediyah Moras Nafshoy. Ki Alev, the Rebbe says, Mevin. Val Keinu Margish Atzor B'Yoseh. ואז בשעת הצור, the Rebbe starts saying, מסכנסים כל הדומים ואוילים אל הלב, כמוי כשיש צור באיזה מוקים חס ושלום. Just like when there's a tzor chas v'sholem somewhere, as a miskansim kulam, all the people come together, l'chochem sheyesham lekabel mimeno eitza. Just like that, when there's a chochem and everybody comes together to ask miskansim, to ask eitza from him, k'moichen iskabtzim kol adomim v'oilim el alev, Levakesh eitzo v'tachbulo keneged atzor. They come together to the leiv because the leiv is like the chochem, ki leiv mavin. The leiv is the maven, he understands. So just like when there's a problem somewhere in the neighborhood, everyone comes to the chochem to ask for the eitzah. So the domim, they recognize that there's a tzara, and they think they want to ask for eitzah. They know that the leiv is the eitzah, that leiv is the chochem, so they come to the leiv to ask for eitzah. Va'azay em shoytfim es haleiv, the Rebbe says. Va'azalev b'tzor u'b'doiche godl. Ki lo yidai. Not just enough shalev doig ba'atzmoi, the leiv itself is worried about the tzara, ki hu margish hatzor yosem mikulam, just like he said before, av gam adom shoytim olav u'matzir eloi moid. Val kein ksheyesh chaz v'sholem tzor el'odom, haleiv doifig b'tfikis doilois. That's why when there's a tzara, when a person has a tzara, the leiv is doifig b'tfikis doilois, ki hu mevakesh l'nanea me'atzmoi v'lashlicho mi'olov. Why is he mevakesh l'nanea me'atzmoi v'lashlicho mi'olov? Because the shoytif, the leiv, and they're making it harder for him. Not just that he has a problem himself, the way he understands the leiv, what he understands about the tzara. Now also the domim are shoytifim olav. Then the Rebbe says, "V'achakach shiyotzim atzora." After that, after we got out of the tzara, as a choizrim taluchas adomim leilech keseder b'tuch shvili aguf. Now they could go back keseder b'tuch shvili aguf. The reason why they went out of the keseder was because they wanted to come to the leiv to get eitzah. So when they're all rushing and shoyt from a leiv, so it's not keseder. They're supposed to be going keseder, and they went out of the keseder. They went to be shoyt of a leiv to get an eitzah from the leiv. But after the tzara, we finished with the tzara, so now there's no reason to come to the leiv anymore to be shoyt of a leiv. So they go back. That's what it says. That's the reason why I started off the sif, the piece over here that I said, it's because the toido shibok shiyoytzim atzoro mechune b'shem alocha al shem taluchis adomim shohoichin keseder kshiyoytzim atzoro kanal. So the Rebbe says the reason why toida mechune b'shem alocha, because toida represents the situation when everything goes back, when the dom go back keseder. So and when things go back keseder, it's called halacha. Al shem halichet, it's going back keseder. That's the sif, the pashtus. Okay, I want to start going around this sif a little over here. So the first question is over here, the first thing that has to do with this sif and has to do with the sif also later, sif gimel, what's the whole inyan of the doichakim? Why did the Rebbe have to tell us this whole story that the blood comes and is doichik the leiv? Just the chayre the hesba would be that he's trying to explain why is toida mechune b'shem alocha. And if halacha, the idea of halacha is that it's going keseder, if I won't explain you before that there's an option that things could go shaloi keseder, so you won't understand. If I would just tell you that kshiyotzim atzor, if the Rebbe said kshodom yotzim atzor as taluchis adomim keseder, and that's why it's called halacha, you would say, well, what do you mean it's taluchis adom keseder? Why shouldn't it be keseder? So that's why you had to start saying the whole reason that the domim, before it's keseda, there's something that the domim start, they go shaloi keseda because they're shoytef es haleiv. And the same tnua we have later when the Rebbe speaks about mizeh siv gimel mizeh boy loda benokel, that the Rebbe says the same thing, that before the yoledes, before there's a lady, the Rebbe says that the domim go out and the doichek in mokim aleda, which we understand that this tchak by the yoledes and this tchak over here by the leiv that Adom Sheitim Salev, l'chor they're sitting together. It's the same tnua. So we know why the Rebbe is bringing it, but the question would be, so this doichekim actually, what does it represent over here? Chutz from an explanation why halacha, to understand why toida mechuna b'shem halacha, I have to understand that there's something shaloi keseda, to understand why after that, when it's keseda, it's halacha. Is there anything else in the whole process over here in the Torah that is an inyan and a tzorich for a certain tchak, for something to be doichik? L'choyre, the tzorah itself is not the tchak. Because when the Rebbe says that the domim doichakim is alev, and it's doimel to the people that they come to the chacham to ask for eitzah, that's because there's a tzorah already before that. There's a tzorah, whatever the tzorah is. There's a tzorah, someone's sick, there's a tzorah. Now the leiv is doyik from the tzorah, he feels the tzorah. So why does there always have to be in every tzorah such an idea that there's the ikka place where the tzorah is over there, where you feel the tzorah, and there's something nilva to that, which that's the domim adoichik. If the whole Torah is going to actually be explaining us the whole idea about toida and halal and tzorah, al b'tzich and lahoidos, which we're going to start understanding what's the deepness, and when a tzorah happens, why does a tzorah happen, and what happens after the tzorah. If that's the whole klolius of the Torah, so this part over here is miyutar. It's like it doesn't sit in. Why should we have to now understand that in every tzorah there's always the domim that are doichik? And like we said before, the domim that are doichik are not part of the tzorah. They're just making the tzorah bigger. They're making the heart with ikat tzorah believe. They're making this tzorah feel stronger than what it actually is. And when we're speaking about the domim badiyuledes, but the domim badiyuledes, it's a little different. But the domim badiyuledes, the taki making the matzav maybe worse, right? Because they're leaving the doichik boisei mokim. Yeah, Yechasem Mitzdananois, but over there, it's not like it's not that the domim are making the problem worse, l'chayra. It's different. So what's the tnu over here from this doichak? Over by letters, the doichak is solving the problem. That's bringing the matter. Right. So I want to get back to that thing. First, we have to recognize that we have to try to explain what's the meaning of the doichak here in the Torah. And then when the Rebbe starts saying that the leiv is trying to push off the domim since they're pressuring so much, so over here is b'chlal. Why did the Rebbe bring this thing? That the leiv is busy the whole time pushing away the domim. What does it serve us over here? The chayr doesn't serve anything. And the chayr by the Yeledes, the Rebbe doesn't say the same thing. That the Biledes, the domim yachisem itztanan is the domim adoichik boisi hamokim. And it doesn't say that the Isha, the Rebbe doesn't express that the Isha is pushing away minaneas adomim. So, but we understand that it's hainu achid. Both systems are working the same way. Not everything that the Rebbe says over here, pink, the way it works, has to be said over here also. But there is this thing that against the domim that are doichik, there's something that's trying to fight the domim back. And the question would be, why is that nitzrach? What does that represent? This process is just a physical process that's happening with the leiv. And of course, the Rebbe explains, wants to prove this thing that the leiv is fighting the domim, because the Rebbe says that valkeina leiv doifik betfikus gdolos. So that shows, the Rebbe is showing, you could see taka that there's such a physical process that the leiv is in a problem with the domim that are doifik, because you see when you're in a tzara, the leiv is doifik betfikus gdolos, and maybe you don't know what that is. Like today, if you ask somebody why, if you have stress, or you're very pressed up, your heart starts beating, the person will tell you that's because lachatz. It's like, there's lachatz, there's pressure. Heart blood pressure, right. But the Rebbe explains it more. He says, no, because this taka, understand what I'm telling you, there's a process over here that the domim aloichetz. Sure, but we understand that we have to be able to explain that it's not just in a physical way. How is there something over here that explains this whole thing, that the domim adoichik, and the leiv pushes back on the domim? Where do we see this thing and the whole thing of a tzara and a yeshua, v'chule, v'chule. That's one thing. Another question that probably waked up over here, which I think has a connection, is when do we say the hidoyah? When do we say halal v'hidoyah? L'chor it sounds val ken k'shiyitzu matzora bo atoida. It's after the tzara. But the Rebbe says by the end of the Torah that al ken oimim mizmor l'soida. We say mizmor l'soida. It says it's gula for maksher leledes. So that means that before we're going out of the tzara, we should say already hidoyah v'halal. And there's an option also to say that when the Rebbe says in the beginning of Siv Gimel, umizeh bohi loda benokul, what the Rebbe means as taka through mizeh, through that halal v'hidoyah, we're going to be able to make that the hiloda should be benokul. So already over here in Siv Gimel, maybe already we could see l'chor that the halal v'hidoyah is coming before even we went out of the tzara. Another question over here is by the domim, by the lave, why doesn't the Rebbe say what happens with this process that the lave is doing with the domim if there is menaneh sadomim? Is he matzliach in that? If you look at the Lashon very good, it goes like this. The Rebbe explained this whole thing, alev doig ba'atzmoi, and the Rebbe says, Avgam adom shoitvu metzion loiv al ken kshesh chaz v'sholem alev doig b'tfikis doilis ku mevakesh l'nanea mi'atzmoi v'lashlicha mi'olov v'al ken u doifik b'tfikis doilis b'shas hatzor chaz v'sholem. That's it. And then all of a sudden, v'achar kach kshiyotzim mi'atzoro. What's that? What happened? Till yotzim mi'atzoro. Why shouldn't the Rebbe say, Ken? V'azai matzliach halev litchoi kesadam v'azai kshiyotzim mi'atzoro. It's after or fakert. I don't care. The Rebbe said, "V'azek shiyotzim mi'atzora," right? Azay choizen taliches hadomim. So the question over here is, what it looks like that the etzem thing that is mevakesh nanea ma'atzim el hashlicha mi'olov, that itself is part of the yotzim mi'atzora. Mevakesh nanea u'mashlicha mi'olov. Since he's doing this process that he's trying to push and be menanea, so then after that, as a choiz natur sadom lelech kiseido.
I think you have to say it because if not, I don't need a tzara to say that the domim are going to say it. What happened before the tzara came? They were going to say it.
Right.
So there's haluchas domim.
Right.
That's before the tzara.
Right.
It must be that the tzara is part of the whole
Right.
whole part of the haluchas adom.
Yeah,
Right.
The question is,
Right.
what's the process of Ashlicham Lenanem? How does it? What does it mean? What's
The question. The question is there a process that doesn't have to do with the yotzim atzor? That means if the yotzim atzor, as a choizer madom kisidram, but till that point, right, the domim are still fighting. The question is like this. This thing is a one-day story. Because whatever says, Alev doike b'tfikas doiles, even a person that has a tzara, he owes the bank money for 5 years, his heart is not beating a whole time, right? The heart is not a whole time b'tfikas doiles. So it comes out like the whole kufa of the tzara, the Rebbe says that kol zman there's a tzara, so the heart is fighting with the domim. It sounds like this is minanea. It's a whole time. It's going back and forth. This thing could go on for how long the tzara is going on. That the leiv is doing with fixed days and trying to be minanea the domim. So it's taka a big process over here to understand what is it doing over here, and is it part of the yotzim atzor? That's what I'm trying to get. Is it part of the yotzim atzor?
Is it an eitzah thing?
What?
Like the eitzah should become a problem. Is that pushing it?
L'choil, we have to say that it is that part of the yotzim atzora has to be that there's a eitzah. Like we asked the question, we should have asked it now again. Why doesn't the Rebbe say by the leiv what happens by the end? Everyone's coming to the leiv to get a eitzah, and the Rebbe doesn't say anything. Does the leiv give a eitzah or not? That's what's machriach l'choil, that this process of the domim fighting back and forth is part of the eitzah. But what I want to try to show, Be'ez Hashem, through the shir, that's not just part of the eitzah; it's part of the yitziyah of the tzara. And part of the yitziyah of the tzara is taka part of the eitzah. Another question that we have over here, that the Rebbe said by Kol Toida, we asked the question, the Rebbe said that Kishal Kol Advorim Yizbatlu La'osid Kulam. Kishal Kol Advorim Yizbatlu La'osid Kulam, B'cheres Kol HaKorban is B'teilin Chutz Mikol Toida. So we asked the question, why does the Rebbe have to say Kishal Kol Advorim Yizbatlu La'osid Kulam? The Rebbe could have started Shelo Yishoel La'osid Rak B'cheres Toida V'Oidah. Huh? You're asking me who cares if there's both?
Yeah, I'm saying it has to be that the other ones are going to go way one.
No, but someone could say it's actually the same thing. Someone's going to say, what do you want the Rebbe to say? That Losid Lovid is only going to be a Kol Toida, and everyone's going to start thinking, what's going to be with the other things? So he's helping you out. He's telling you, I'm trying to say the other things are going to be in this battle. That's.
Yeah, but it's a yichidiyut that's going to be only Toida. You could tell me that it's a shiurim, but even if there's other things, this could still be shiurim.
I understand.
There's not going to be anything left but this.
Right, you're right. Enochanami. It sounds like it's very important for you to understand that when I'm trying to explain to you the idea of Shashoil Mabo, which that's the idea of Toida, it's important to understand that it's going to be the only thing. And what I wanted to be madrish show, so that's important to understand that Shal Kol Advorim is battle. And the question is, if it's this battle, where is it in this battle? There's a way to look at the thing that pshat it's going to be in this battle, and itself it's going to become part of the Korban Torah. There's two ways to look at this battle. You could say in this battle means it's going to go away, finish Yigangan. Where did it go? It went back to before the creation, it was never here. Or it's going to become this battle in the Torah because it's actually going to be serving the Torah. Now, where do I see such a tnu over here in the Torah? When the Rebbe speaks behemshech about pulis mishtanois, that they all come together in the Ardus HaPoshet, so we understand that it's not just the pulis mishtanois nisbatlim, they go away. They tackle when they go into the Ardus HaPoshet l'choyde, they become nisbatl, but they become like nichlal v'nisbatl b'toich Ardus HaPoshet. And this nu over here of something that becomes this battle, and through that it becomes this battle, it becomes this niskal in one, is l'choyre what we had also an idea over here when we spoke already, that we see this thing over here in the Torah that is Indian from halacha and the Indian from chiddush halacha. And the idea was that the chiddush halacha brings a chiddush into the keseda. We also have a tnu of one thing that's l'choyre going out, but it's coming back in. But over here, al manas that it should go back, it should go out and come back in, it had to go shaloi keseda, right? When we're looking about something that's going back, a chiddush halacha, that becomes a part of the halacha, and it goes into keseda, what had to happen before it became a chiddush, and before it became back going into keseda, it had to go out of the keseda. So if it's so, I'm pushing ahead already to show that there's something over here that al-manas, that things should go back to become this battle. It first has to get its power, represent itself as something that's menugid. It's against the thing. And when it's against the thing, it's pulis mishtanis, like the Rebbe says, that we can't understand the pulis mishtanis. A seichel anush, you can't understand how pulis mishtanis could be shaykh to Ardus HaPoshet, because if it's pulis mishtanis, it's the hefech from the idea. But we see that daika, because the pulis mishtanis are like an idea that's different than Ardus HaPoshet. It's so the idea of Ardus HaPoshet. That's why what the Eibishter likes, the Rebbe says, Yokom Oiditz Hashem Yisbarach, is because it's so different, and it goes back in. It goes back into the Ardus HaPoshet.
That's the biggest result.
So yes, Yizbatlu Losid Lovi, it's going to be only Kol Toida, but it's going to be, why is it going to be only Kol Toida? Because Shal Kol Advorim Yizbatlu. Everything else is going to become bottle in it.
I'm saying the biggest result is when something's menuged goes to its opposite. So that's the biggest I do is when such a thing happens.
Now that you're saying it, maybe it would be right to look at it that way. Enochanami. Another thing over here, I don't know, I keep looking over there, I think I look for the watch over there, there myself. What used to be one there? So I can't disconnect from it. Another interesting thing here, I'm going to see later, all these questions over here, I want to try to get to some kind of an idea that's coming out of the Torah. When the Rebbe is speaking about the Toimche Raisa in Sif Gimel, the Rebbe says, Kesh Toimche Raisa, Shenois Nimomoin Leloim De Torah. Ubetchilo He Mechasrim Memoino Miatzmo. In the beginning, these Toimche Torah that they give money to Loim De Torah, the Mechaser from themselves the Momoin, Kikshenois Nimomoin La Talmud Chochem Nechsar Etzlom. Shezeh Pchines Yavchuiseo Mitztanenus. So probably everyone learned the shtickle over here, which actually over here we have an idea of something that in the beginning it becomes a chesron, and after the chesron, after that comes ashpoes sachesed. And like the Rebbe continues weiter in the Indian from Eure Levona, Kerachamo, that the Rebbe says, Kalevona tivokar, Pchines chesron v'krirus, vasido lismalo is Kerachamo, Pchines milu yachesron, which is the Pchines ilode. So over here, when there's milu yachesron, Pchines ilode, we see the same thing, that l'chor the hilada is going to come only after there was a chisaron before. So, which means actually that there's no hilada without there being a chisaron before. But why did I bring this thing over here? Because there's something very interesting here with the example of the moment. The Rebbe says, "Shenois the moment leloim de Torah, ubetchiloi mechasrim emoino me'atzmo." If you take a look good, it shows you that there's two tnuas over here that are coming together. It's not just that in the beginning there's a chisaron, like the Eure Levon is choser. There's a chisaron right now. It's betchilo shenois nimomel leloim de Torah. While he's mechaser, he's also a noisen. You see, in one tnua together, he's making a chasaron in himself, and in the same second he's noisen, which shows you that there could be an idea of something that while it looks like a chasaron, not just after adom hoichem shaloi keseda, then all of a sudden there's something that's memala the chasaron. There's a tnua that in the chasaron itself, he's right now a noisen. While there's something in one place, there's something become a chasaron. Eino chanami meredo takeving zwei menschen, but that's a different question. The etzem thing that is a metzias, that while the Talmud Chochem is getting his money, the same tnua that's making the Talmud Chochem get the money, which that's going to be l'chor the way the Talmud Chochem is going to be able to be mechadesh halachos through this money, by somebody else, by this person, right now this is becoming a chasaron. Which shows me that there could be an idea over here in the Torah, which is it's going to come back and everything else over here, that the etzem chisaron or the etzem doichak is part of the etzem milui and the etzem toimche raisa and the etzem leida. Right, but. So, but this question that we have over here, that you're telling me that he's machasel memoinoi, right? And then l'chori is giving the Talmud Chochem, that itself is already a question. Rebbe, till now you brought examples about in the same person, the same situation itself. So I'm leaving that question is an open question, right? Which we understand that we have to try to understand it. That it's not enough committed because Sefer Shel Dover, in one place there's a chasaron, in another place there's a milui. Let me ask you a question. By the lady, is it the same thing? By the lady, Achisem Mitztanenois, that's the chisaron, right? Yeah. When does the milui happen?
The milui happens itself.
When does the milui happen? Later. No, Achisem Mitztanenois.
Why?
No, why Achisem Mitztanenois? Right, because of chisaron, right.
That chisaron is what goes on. Brings it back.
Right, but when does the ashpoes hachesed come? When does the ashpoes hachesed come?
You see the das afterwards. So the
afterwards.
Yeah, but the yotzim me'atzude is the same time as the tude itself.
So you're trying to say the chiddush here. That I understand. Are you asking with me that in time, on the clock, right, when I take out a dollar from my pocket and I give the Talmud Chacham, on this same second that it became a chesaron by me, it became a milui by him. Yes? Good. By the Yuledes, when the dom come out of Yachiseo and the doichik boisei mokoim, that was 5 o'clock. 5:30 was the later, and 5:45 the domim choizim kesidram. I'm not trying to make a question. You don't get what I'm trying to say. I'm trying. Okay, let me finish off. You understand? Say it. Okay. You're asking me the time is different. Just okay. So for now, if the time is different, so we're good. We're good to go. Say it. Okay. By Shimush Chachomim, the Rebbe says, yeah, he's moineh from him chesed. It is, yeah, it's 2 people, yeah, but the example from Shimush Tamid Chachom, the Rebbe doesn't bring as something that's, that he brings the idea of milui, chisaron, kised, shlek kised.
The moon is for now only chesed.
Right.
Without any meaning.
So the example of Tomchei Raisa is original. It's different than all the other examples because I show that the Toich Kidei Shenois Nimechasrim.
Chesed wasn't made for anyone.
Because the guy gave the Chama the Kesser.
No, Chama always had it. The
You
moon also.
gotta be Yehudi of them. It's a mirror.
It's not a minute. It's a minute. But the Buddha didn't get, the Chama didn't get stronger.
Then you have another kasha. So why are you comparing the one of the Chama?
So let's go weiter. Let's go weiter. Another thing that we have to understand over here is, I hope we'll be able to close everything over here together. If we understood that in halacha, there's 2 tnuis, like we spoke. There's zoichen lilmoid halachos, and then befrat mishe zoichen lechadish ben. That's 2 things, and we explained by one of the shiurim over here that this kol hashoyna halachos. Shoyna is like the keseda, the halacha keseda, and the shimush tamid chacham, which that's the chiddush. The shimush brings the chiddush. So it means in halacha there's the part that's kavua. It's halacha. It's the same halacha like yesterday was today. It goes back the whole time the same thing. But there's a chiddush in halacha. And if the Rebbe says that halacha and toida are the same thing, where do we find in toida that there's a part of toida that's keseda, and there's a part of toida which is a chiddush? In halacha, again, we have 2 parts. We can learn halacha every day without being mechadish, and then we will zoicha lilmoid halachos. But there's a part that I'm mechadish in halacha. And if toida, to saying shkoyach, is the same thing like halacha, so how could I explain a way to say that this toida v'halil, that's the idea of lilmoid halacha, keseda, shoyna halachos, to the idea that there's something that you're saying toida, when you're saying toida, you're being mechadish something. A seichel v'yediyah. Which brings me to a place, that's why I want to go, that there is such a thing in toida. There is such a thing of toida that's keseda, over here in the Torah, and this toida that's not keseda, it's the toida what you say, kshiyoytze mi'atzor. Right away, if it's true what I'm saying right now, we already have a shtickle answer already about the idea that how could it be, we asked the question, how could it be that the Rebbe says you say toida v'halal is after the tzorah, kshiyoytze mi'atzor. And then the Rebbe says that if you're saying toida v'halal mizmel soida, it's a zgula before the tzorah. So it looks like over here in the Torah that the idea is that a person has to be busy a whole time. Kol hashoyna alochois, Muftach Leshu Ben El Mabba means Kol HaShoyna, and he's always used to saying Halul V'Ydoy to the Eibishter, even if there's no tzara, or even B'Shas HaTzara, there's Halul V'Ydoy. But what the Rebbe is explaining is that there's the Halul V'Ydoy Kshiyoytze Mi'atzara. And just like Kshiyoytze Mi'atzara, there's a Leda. And the Leda makes that when the Dom go back Keseda, the Keseda is a new Keseda. It's not the same Keseda like yesterday, because now it's coming back with a Chiddush. The same thing's going to be about Halul V'Ydoy. What's going to happen is the Halul V'Ydoy that you're going to say after the Tzara is going to go back and become part of the whole Halul V'Ydoy that you're saying even when there's no Tzara. To be able to understand that thing, I want to show this new over here. There's another question over here. that it's not mamash a question, but I think it sounds like a question. The Rebbe says, "Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi mileshamshoi kilu munea mimeno chesed." And the Rebbe brings this chazal just to show the connection between chesed and halacha. Because shimush chacham is halachos, and if chazal says, "Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi mileshamshoi," it's like saying, "Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi halachos." And it says, "Kilu munea mimeno chesed." So you see that halacha is chesed, and from there the Rebbe goes to chazdei David and everything. But the Indian was, why does it have to be say in such a way, Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi mileshamshoi? Why does it have to be derech hashlili? Couldn't Chazal give another? If Chazal wanted to explain us the connection between shimush chachomim and chesed, because taka shimush chachomim is halacha, so Chazal should have said, Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi, Kol ha'ma'afshel mitalmidoi leshamshoi, yoisei imo chesed. Why does it have to go with the Kol ha'munea mimeno? Kilu munea mimeno chesed. So I started thinking, since of all these questions over here, and this whole salad that I made here, with here for questions and here for this, I started to think that maybe the way the Rebbe is explaining, the way we're supposed to learn this chazal is different. And another thing, that someone else asked me this question, it's nice. He says, what do you mean, Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi mishamshoi kilu munea mimeno chesed? So the lave that when everyone's coming over to him to ask for eitzah, and he's pushing away everybody, he's pushing away the domim, he's munea mimeno chesed. They're coming to the lave to learn. So how could it be that the lave is doing something that's not good? From here, I started thinking that maybe it's fakert. Kol ha'munea mitalmidoi mileshamshoi kilu munea mimeno chesed, and it's good. Because there's a need to be munea mitalmidoi mileshamshoi, because there's a need to be munea mimeno chesed. Because the only way there could be a later is only when there's something that's before munea the thing. This munea is the doichik of the heart. The heart that's pushing off the domim, he's munea kilu the eitz, he's munea the Yeshua. They're coming to him for Yeshua, but he's munea. You know why he's munea? Because he wants the domim to fight back stronger. Because if the domim are coming with a pressure and he's pushing them back, so now they're pushing back also. And that's why the Rebbe says the Loshen minanea. It's not mashlicho miolov. Minanea. This minanea, we asked how much time is this thing going to go on? This could go on for years. A person is in a tzara, and while he's in the tzara, there's something that's kilu minea. Minea the Yeshua. Which looks like right now there's only the tzara, but the emes is what's happening over here. That almanas, that the Yeshua that is supposed to happen, the tora that's supposed to come out of here, the later that's supposed to come out of here, has to go through the process that before that there's domim doichakim, and there's someone pushing off the domim, munea mimeno chesed, and that way he's making the chesaron taka to be a chesaron. In that way, taka there could be a later. If it's true, so when the Rebbe says toida mevim ksheyotzim miatzara, doesn't mean toida bok ksheyotzim miatzara, doesn't mean ksheyotzim miatzara that the tzara is finished. Toich kedei ksheyotzim miatzara. Toida mevim ksheyotzim miatzara. That means you have to say toida already from the first level when you yotzim atzara. The question is, how do you look at it? When do I start going out of the tzara? We look at the thing is that when I see Yeshua, the problem stopped. That's when I went out of the tzara. But the Rebbe is teaching us over here in the Torah that yotzim atzara starts already shkadomim doichikim alaleiv. Yotzim atzara starts already when the Yalchiseum mitzdanenois. Already over there, it starts a process that it's the beginning of Yitzia Me'atzara, because the tzara to become soif atzara, which is soif, like in the halacha, we'll speak about it, in the halacha, the soif halacha. The Rebbe says, Vayimi Keitsh Nosayim Yomim, there's an idea of soif halacha. There's a psak. But the Rebbe speaks over here in the Torah that there's Yochid Varab, halacha goes through also a process. Ein ochanami, halacha is halicha sadomim. But the question is, the alicha sadomim that was shaloi keseda, are they part of the alicha sadomim when they become keseda? L'chayr, the way we understand the Torah, without anything what I said right now, if the whole chiddush halacha and the whole leder could become only because there was a talucha sadomim shaloi keseda in the beginning, comes out that when the domim go keseda now, what's making the domim be keseda, with the chiddush halacha, with the leda, was the actual thing that happened before that. I was shaloi keseda. The shaloi keseda is the one that's pushing the domim in the system of working keseda. So that's a different look in Gansen. And again, the question would be: is where's the place kshiyotzim atzara? And then I found something interesting. The Rebbe says a lashon over here. He says, "V'ken k'shenoiflim litzora." When you fall into atzara, it sounds like k'shenoiflim litzora. I understood that there's no going in the tzara, more into the tzara. A tzara is noiflim. It happens, you fell into the tzara. From it, the moment after you fell into the tzara, starts the process of going out of the tzara. Because, now the Rebbe explained, you know why you fell into the tzara? It's a different look, b'chlal, and I think I could explain it a little, and the reason why I can't explain it more is because it's such a different way of thinking about, a way a person is supposed to think about the tzaras that are happening with him. The Rebbe is telling you should know that when there's a tzara, it's more, you're looking at it as a tzara, it's lechoyer, it's a process to bring to a leda. It's a process to bring to a new chiddush. It's a process that lechein you have to start saying toida v'halel already, in the beginning already. Miyad achar shenoiflim latzara, a second after you fell into the tzara, you should start saying halal v'odah already. Because right now already, you're starting a process of yoytzim miyatzara. And through saying halal v'odah already now, you're going to be helping this process that it should be doing what it's supposed to do, and it should be doich, it should be madchik, es hamokoi madchik es alev, that einochanami, that the thing should become fast like leda benokel. The whole leda benokel could only become since adomim doichakim. If there won't be domim doichakim, and the mother itself would have to push out the vlad, it would be very hard for her. It could take a week, it could take 2 weeks. The whole way that the lady's binocle is because it goes fast. Why does it go fast? Because the mother has the koich that she's doichef, and the reason why she's fighting in doichef, because there's dom that are fighting against, and loichetzim boisei mokoin. Huh?
Why does it not go that process by later for state? Other times, why is that why is that the issue?
So if we're going to speak about the leiv with the eitzah, right? It's probably that the eitzah itself, that the chochem is going to be able to give you, that it should be a true eitzah. If you like, the Rebbe says later in the Torah, "Arav moire derech Yoshua letalmido." If you saw, the Torah, the Rebbe speaks about Arav moire derech Yoshua letalmidov. In a spiritual way, that you should be able to be moiled a new das, which this das is actually being closer to the Eibishter. That Yodea Oisa B'Yoisa. The Rebbe says Yodea Oisa B'Yoisa. Makirin Oisa B'Yoisa. This thing, it should build up the etzem thing that there's a doichak, there's something fakert, there's a tzora, that's what builds it up. It's not like I had a problem, I got an eitz and I solved the problem. Now when you solve the problem, you have a new scarvis. You know the Eibishter more than you knew before. And like we spoke about Shashua Ilam Abo, that the whole idea of Shashua Ilam Abo is that a Shashua is something that goes back and forth. Shashua. You wasn't here by the Shia, so I'll say it over. A Shashua is when you mishtasheh a lot of times with a child. That's my best example. When you mishtasheh with a child, so if I come over to him and I give him a present, I buy him a little car, I give him the car, I put it down, so he's very happy. And then I walk away. I wasn't my mishtasheh with the child. But if I play around like we play around with Luchu, we take it away for a second, then he wants it and we give it back, we go back and forth. That gives it's a shashua. It's a shashua, that's a shashua. And what's very interesting, so shashua is a tnuah that going back and forth. It's a milui v'chesaron, like the Rebbe is speaking in the Torah. There's a milui chesaron. I'm in ma'ala, I'm giving it, then I'm making a chesaron. I'm making a chesaron because I want that the milui should become a new milui. Now I'm enjoying the new milui. I'm coming back again, and when I'm coming back again, it's strong, it's different than the first time when I came. What's very doimet to shashua in the tnuah is nanua. Nanua, minanea. It's going back and forth. So if you want to get an eitzah, you want to get a yeshua, you want to have a leda, you're going to go through a nanua in life. There's a nanua that's going to be pushing you back and forth. And this nanua, that's what makes the leda. If he doesn't let him be mishamish, you should know through that he's monea mimenu chesed. So what's good that he's monea chesed? Because
now it's only ki'ili because ultimately it might look like he's being monea.
Oh, beautiful.
Because he's actually giving him the biggest chesed.
Beautiful. I should be listening to you more at the share, I see. I shouldn't be stopping you, I see. Beautiful, he said. Ki'ilu monea mimenu chesed. Now, this is a turnover over here in the Torah. So I can't say that I know it from somebody, I can't say it's true, but I'm kamat meshuchna. If we're going with these questions the whole time, why do we need the doichak? And why is Rebbe talking about the doichak? What's going on with the doichak here? We start understanding that the doichak is part of the process. The munea is part of the process. Just one sec, make sure. Yeah, what do you want to ask? Right.
Why is it more of a tora? That's okay.
Yeah, the Rebbe is telling you, the Rebbe is showing you a process where it looks that way, and physically, that's what's happening. The Rebbe is not so used to if someone has a tora right now, he's sick, and all of a sudden come over to me, you should know, oh, there's no tora, you should know. I do just now learn Torah base. Your mamish, wow, you're murder successful now. The Rebbe is saying it's a tzara, and I'll explain even how it's working, but you should know that the pnimius or inyan, what's happening over here already, that the Yeshua is starting right now. And I wanted to close up with another thing go back to the thing, that's why there's two times when you say halal v'yidoya, but I see we won't get it together in a few minutes, so we'll do it Be'ez Hashem next year. But just for now, just to be misaking what we said right now, when we started with a question, which is a question that's bothering the whole time over here in the Torah, what's the inyan of halal v'yidoeh? Is halal v'yidoeh something that we just say after that? And what's so special about halal v'yidoeh? The Rebbe says, because it's shashoy l'mabo. But then we start understanding already that the process of the chesaron, the process of the tzora, is part of the Yotzei Me'atzora. And we start understanding why it's good to say halal v'yidoeh even before you finished with the tzora. Now we see it's a system, it's a eitzah. And maybe when the Rebbe says that the Chacham gives a eitzah and everyone's coming to the leiv to get a eitzah, what's the eitzah taka that the leiv is giving him? If someone comes to the leiv, someone comes to the Chacham and he says, give me a eitzah, I'm in a tzara. The only eitzah that I know right now that can help a person with a tzara is like what the Rebbe says here, it's shoim mizma l'soida, it's a eitzah for the makshel, for makshel aledes. So maybe that's takadetza. When the domim come, he starts telling the domim, start saying halal v'yidoin now already. And through saying halal v'yidoin now, it's not just that you're doing the right thing because I'm telling you, because l'maisa right now, it's the beginning of the Yeshua. That itself is going to make that this process that I'm explaining you over here in Torah Beis, tinyana, that it should become that this doichak should become part of the Yeshua, because the doichak doesn't have to become part of the Yeshua. A person can have a tzor, it could be shoyta v'salev, and the Rebbe says, v'az a yotzei me'atzora. But a lot of times there's people, she'ein a yotzei me'atzora. There's no yotzei me'atzora. It's totally into what you're going to make from these domim. These domim have a potential to become part of the Yeshua. Huh?
Then, why is it hechlich that when they come to ask an idea, they have to shoytef el alev and put him into a doichik?
Okay.
Why does it have to happen?
Right.
So it looks like as if the leaven itself is telling them, come on, push me a little bit more, and then we'll get out. But if you're not going to push me, so then come ask someone an idea. You don't have to put him into a doichik.
Yeah.
It's more like as if the lev is saying, yeah, no problem. Ask me a little bit more, push me. Listen, I should be doig ba'atzmai. I should be stuck in when I'm stuck in a doig, that's when you're going to get out.
Sounds very nice. So, but the idea that all the domim doichkim that we have, every chisaron is something that could be used as a potential to become a mokoim, that's where the later should start, or it should get stuck in itself. The chisaron should stay a chisaron. And what is it totally? In the eitzah that you're going to do. If you're going to start saying Hal v'doy all time today, Bishta, and everything in life, all time shkoich, and even when there's a tzara also, everything is, you say Hal v'doy, so then you're going to make out of the tzara the same idea of domim that are doichik, and it should become a later Yeshua and Eitzah.